This vlog is all about the sum and product of the roots of quadratic equations. Okay, so the formula in finding the sum of the roots of quadratic equation is this one. You need to memorize or familiarize this one. X sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b over a. Then the formula in finding the product of the roots of quadratic equation is this one. X sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to c over a. So I have here an example. Example number 1. X squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Before we are going to find the values of a, b, and c, kailangan muna nating tingnan if nasa standard form na ba ang given na equation. So, ang given na equation dito is nasa standard form na, di ba? Kasi, ang standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So, since nasa standard form na siya, so, mapafind na natin kung ano yung values ng a, b, and c. So, the value of a, ang a ha is ang first term, coefficient ng first term. So, ito, x squared. So, ang coefficient niya is 1. So, a is equal to 1. Then, ang b is the second term, ito. Then, ang coefficient ng second term. Kung ano yung operation na katabi ng number, yun din yung sign ng number. So, minus man, it means negative 5. Then, ang c is the last term, plus 6, so it means positive 6. So, next, so we are going to find na the sum of the roots and the product of the roots. The formula of the sum of the roots, x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b over a. Then, the product of the roots, x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to c over a. So, next is, i-substitute na natin yung mga values ng a, b, and c. So, unahin natin ang sum of the roots. So, copy lang, x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to, since meron na siyang negative sa formula pa lang, so copy lang negative. Then, ang value ng b is negative 5, diba? So, negative times negative 5. Lagyan natin ang parentheses para hindi kayo malito na magkatabi yung negative. At saka, ang parenthesis din yung operation niya. Ang operation ng parenthesis is multiplication. So, time siya. Then, ito naman, x sub 1, copy lang x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to, c is 6, so 6, then a is 1, so 1. Next, copy lang x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to, negative times negative 5 is equal to positive 5, diba? Kasi kung mag-multiply tayo ng same sign, the result is positive. So, negative times negative is positive. So, positive 5 over 1. Then, ito naman, 6 divided by 1 is 6. Then, next, copy lang x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to 5 divided by 1 is 5. So, therefore, the sum of the roots is 5. Then, the product of the roots of the given quadratic equation is 6. So, yan. Another example. Example number 2. 3x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. Since nasa standard form na siya, nung hindi natin siyang i-transform pa or i-change to standard form. So, next natin gagawin, find na the values of a, b, and c. So, our a is the first term, the coefficient of the first term, the coefficient is 3. So, a is equal to 3. Then, b is the second term. The coefficient of the second term is 1. Then, the operation is plus. So, it means positive. So, positive 1. Then, c, the last term is 1. Then, the operation is plus. Ibig sabihin, positive 1. Next na, we are going to find na the sum of the roots and product of the roots. The formula, x sub 1 plus x sub 2 is equal to negative b over a. Then the product x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to c over a. So next, substitute lang the values. X sub 1 plus X sub 2 is equal to, copy lang negative, then our B is 1. Sunod mo nang lagyan ng parenthesis ha, kasi positive naman yung sign ng 1. The negative times positive is negative. So negative 1. Then our A is 3. Yan, 3. Then ito naman X sub 1 times X sub 2. The value of C is 1. Yan. Then the value of A is 3. So the answer, X sub 1 plus X sub 2 is equal to negative 1 over 3. Kaya diba, negative 1 divided by 3 is equal to negative 1/3. Then ito naman is 1/3 rin. So, yung sign lang nila yung nagkaiba. So, the sum of the roots of the quadratic equation is negative 1/3 and the product is positive 1/3. So, next example is, we are going to write the quadratic equation given the following roots. So, merong ibibigay na roots. Then, ang gagawin mo is, you are going to write the quadratic equation based sa given na roots. So, for example, X sub 1 natin is negative 9. Then, X sub 2 is positive 7. So, meron dalawang methods na pwede mong sundin. So, it's up to you kung alin bang sundin mo. Method 1 ba or method 2. Ipapakita ko lang sa inyo ng dalawang method. Kayo na ang pumili kung alin dito ang gagawin nyo, ang ipa-follow nyo. Okay, so method number 1. So, copy lang X sub 1 is equal to negative 9. Then, X sub 2 is equal to 7. So, next is gagawin natin siyang zero product property. So, ito, diba, X sub 1 is equal to negative 9, X sub 2 is equal to positive 7. So, first, ito muna. So, X is equal to negative 9. So, gagawin natin, i-transpose natin ang negative 9 sa left side, diba? Kasi nasa right side siya. So, from negative 9, magiging positive 9. So, that's why the quantity of X plus 9. Okay. X plus 9 times, ito namang isa, X is equal to 7. So, transpose lang from positive 7, magiging negative 7. That's why X minus 7 is equal to 0. So, ano lang ha? Opposite sign lang ng given na roots. So, X plus 9, then X minus 7 is equal to 0. So, next, para makuha natin yung quadratic equation, so the first term is x squared, kaya diba x times x is x squared. Then, para makuha natin yung second term or yung middle term, i-add lang natin itong dalawang number na to. Itong positive 9 at negative 7. So, positive 9 plus negative 7 is equal to positive 2. Bakit positive 2? Kasi, diba, nag-add tayo ng hindi pareho ang sign. So, minus. Then, copy the sign of the greater value. Then, mas malaki yung 9 kaysa 7. Then, operation ng 9 is positive. That's why positive 2. Then, lagyan mo ng x. Okay, diba, yung standard form is ax squared plus bx. So, tabihan mo ng x ang 2. The next is ang last term. Ang last term naman, para makuha natin is i-multiply naman natin itong dalawang number na to. So, positive 9 times negative 7 is equal to negative 63. Is equal to 0. Yan lang. Then, method number 2 is gagamitin natin yung formula. Okay. So, sum of the roots. So, ang gagamitin natin yung x sub 1 plus x sub 2. Okay, yung x sub 1 plus x sub 2 lang ha. So, next is substitute lang natin yung values ng x sub 1 at ng x sub 2. So, x sub 1 natin is negative 9. Yan, negative 9 plus x sub 2 is 7. So, negative 9 plus 7 is equal to negative 2, diba? Kasi, hindi sila pareho ng sign, so minus, then copy the sign of the greater value. Malaki yung 9 kaysa 7, then ang sign ng 9 is negative, so kopyahin natin yung negative. That's why negative 2. Then after nimo makuha, get the opposite sign. So ano yung opposite sign ng negative? So positive 2. So ito na yung final na answer, positive 2. Then next is product of the roots. So x sub 1 times x sub 2. Huwag nyo nang kopyahin yung ano ha, di ba sa sum of the roots is meron siyang negative b over a. Huwag nyo nang kopyahin yun, only the x sub 1 plus x sub 2. Then sa product of the roots naman, di ba meron siyang x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to c over a. Huwag nyo nang kopyahin yung c over a. Yung x sub 1 lang times x sub 2. So, same lang din, substitute lang the values of x sub 1 and x sub 2. So, x sub 1 is negative 9, di ba? Negative 9 times x sub 2 is 7. So, negative 9 times 7 is equal to negative 63. Then, after that, quadratic equation na. So, x squared, first term is the x squared. Then, ang sum of the roots, siya yung middle term. Siya yung second term. Okay. So, ang final answer natin, diba, is positive 2. So, plus 2. Then, tabihan mo ng x. Then, ang ating last term naman is ang product of the roots. So, minus 63 is equal to 0. By the way, if ano yung sign ng number, yun din yung operation niya, ha? Okay, so diba, same lang, x squared plus 2x minus 63 is equal to 0, then x squared plus 2x minus 63 is equal to 0. So, kayo lang bahala kung ano ang i-follow nyo, yung method 1 ba or ang method 2. Okay, last example. Example number 4, x sub 1 is equal to negative 1 over 4 or 1/4. X sub 2 is equal to positive 2/3. So, method number 1, our x sub 1 is negative 1/4, then x sub 2 is positive 2/3. So, same lang ginawa natin sa example number 3. I-transpose natin ang negative 1/4 sa left side. So, from negative, magiging positive. That's why x plus 1 over 4 times the quantity of x, then ang positive 2/3, transpose natin sa left side, magiging negative 2/3. So, x minus 2/3 is equal to 0. Then, find na the sum and the product of this roots, of this number, positive 1/4 and negative 2/3. So, papakita ko sa inyo. So, ito, wait lang. So, yan, i-add natin, positive 1/4 plus negative 2/3 is equal to, since hindi sila pareho ng denominator, so find lang the LCD. In finding the LCD, think lang kayo ng pinaka lowest na number na pwede mong ma-divide sa 4 at saka sa 3. So, ang LCD ng 4 and 3 is 12, diba? Diba? So, 12 divided by 4 is 3, times 1 is positive 3. Then, 12 divided by 3 is 4, times negative 2 is negative 8. So, 3, copy lang the operation plus, then negative 8 is equal to 3 plus negative 8. So, hindi sila pareho ng sign, minus, then copy the operation of the greater value. So, 8 minus 3 is 5. Then, the 8 is greater than 3, then the sign of 8 is negative, so negative 5 over 12. So, siya yung bx natin, yung middle term. The next naman is, we are going to find the product of 1/4 and negative 2/3. So, 1 over 4, 1/4 times the quantity of negative 2/3 is equal to, so multiply lang the numerator, denominator. So, 1 times 2, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Then, 4 times 3 is positive 12. 12 is equal to negative 2 over 12. So, pwede mo pa siyang ma-simplify kasi merong number na pwede mong ma-divide sa 2, pwede mong ma-divide sa 12, which is 2. So, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Then, 12 divided by 2 is 6. So, negative 1 over 6. So, yan yung C natin. So, Ang middle term ha is negative 5 over 12. Then ang last term is negative 1 over 6. So therefore, our quadratic equation is x squared kay x times x. Diba yung sign ng second term na nakuha natin is negative, ibig sabihin minus yung operation. So minus 5 over 12x, then minus 1 over 6 is equal to 0. Huwag niyong kalimutang lagyan ng x ang second term ha. Kasi kung walang x, wrong na yan. Then method number 2, sum of the roots. So x sub 1 plus x sub 2. Substitute lang the values of x sub 1 and x sub 2. So x sub 1 natin is negative 1/4 plus x sub 2 is 2/3 is equal to, find the LCD. The LCD is 12. So 12 divided by 4 is 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 plus 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2 is 8. Equals negative 3 plus 8 is equal to positive 5. Diba? Kasi mas malaki yung 8 kaysa sa 3. Then the sign of 8 is positive. So positive 5 over 12. Then get the opposite sign. So the opposite sign of positive is negative 5 over 12. So yan yung final answer natin. Then product of the roots, x sub 1 times x sub 2 is equal to, substitute lang the values of x sub 1 and x sub 2. So x sub 1 natin is negative 1/4. Negative 1/4, diba? Negative 1/4 times x sub 2 is 2/3. So negative 1/4 times 2/3 is equal to 1 times 2 is 2. Then 4 times 3 is 12. Diba? Negative times positive is negative. So negative 2 over 12 is equal to, same lang yung ginawa natin sa method 1, divide natin by 2 yung numerator at saka denominator. So negative 2 divided by 2 is 1, then 12 divided by 2 is 6. So therefore, the answer is negative 1 over 6. So ang sum of the roots is the second term or the middle term, then ang product of the roots is the last term or the third term. Therefore, the quadratic equation, x squared, then ang sign is negative, so minus 5 over 12x. Again ha, wag niyong kalimutang lagyan ng variable yung middle term. So x, then the last term is negative 1/6, so minus 1 over 6 is equal to 0. So as you can see, same lang yung lumabas na quadratic equation. So kayo nang bahala kung alin dyan ang susundin nyo na method. Yung method 1 ba or ang method 2. So I hope naintindihan nyo ang aking discussion. Okay, salamat sa panonood. Bye!